Hello guys, King Salamander here, back with another video talking UFC and 5 retired fighters I wish could come back for one last fight, and I'll be matching them up with suitable opponent. Now before we dive into it, please like and subscribe, especially subscriber please, I'm stuck at 4 subscribers. Let's dive right into it, starting with number 5, Gamebred George Masvidal. Now, I know that most people think Masvidal's washed up, judging by his last performances. 2 losses in a row versus Usman. A very bad wrestle fuck by Colby. And a lackluster gun-shy performance versus Gilbert Burns. So yeah, most people would be like, yeah, that was a good time to retire for Masvidal. But he did leave the door a little bit open. Now, first of all, there is that unfinished storyline with Leon Edwards. And why would that matter? Because I am sure that Bilal will ragdoll Edwards for 5 rounds and take his belt. And it will be so one-sided that there won't be, immediate rematch. Yeah, that is really my opinion. I see Bilal putting a pace on Leon Edwards, who's not a volume fighter. Yeah, that would be another breakdown for another video. But I do see Bilal getting through Leon pretty easily. So if Masvidal were to come back right after that, that would be a good fight for him. It will sell huge numbers with the whole Leon backstage incident with Masvidal. We never had the closure with that incident. I think a fight between the two would sell extremely well. Masvidal is always a star. He will always be in big fights. I don't see him coming back fighting some like top 10 welterweight. So that's one possible option for Masvidal. The other one, he's been calling out for it, is Justin Gaethje. Now, I think Gaethje would take this fight because it feels like Gaethje won't be in title contention anytime soon. So a fun fight is maybe a fun, winnable fight against Masvidal because I am pretty sure Gaethje has said somewhere that he would just beat up Masvidal easily. Masvidal seems to think that's a good fight for him. I do see it happening maybe at welterweight, maybe at 165. If we have that new division, maybe. I mean, a Masvidal comeback would be huge, guys. The guy is a star, undeniably. And I really, it's not a popular opinion, but I really liked his rise to fame in the UFC. It was some fun times. He is undeniably a fun fighter with a unique style of striking. You know, he has something, in his fights. He's not your regular striker. The way he kicks, he does do some, I don't know, it's very beautiful to see. So Masvidal comeback is always welcome. Now, let's go to number 4. Amanda Nunes. Now, come on, guys. This one has already practically written itself. Nunes versus Kayla Harrison. What a fight would that be? I mean, let's be honest here. Women MMA, not many fights to be excited for. Let's be honest. So, when there is a chance like this one, you jump on it, UFC. I think they can make a good offer for Amanda to come back. I mean, it was very weird, Amanda Nunes' retirement. Why? She was still clearly on top. She just dominated Juliana Pena, took her belt back. I mean, from one face of it, like, we can say that she had nothing else to prove. There was no big fights anymore. But that was before Kayla Harrison came to the UFC, and she came with a bang, destroying Holly Holm like that. Made easy work of Holly Holm. No one really did that. And we saw the little Amanda tweet video about it, so we know she's interested. We know Dana White really likes Amanda Nunes. I think he can make her a good offer, and yeah, Amanda Nunes still has a lot to do in the UFC. But even if one fight against Kayla Harrison, I think we'll all be happy with it. She's one of the few female fighters that I really get excited to watch. She brings something. She brings an aura with her that I'm really curious to see what Kayla Harrison will do facing her. For sure, she will grapple. I mean, we can get to see the Ronda Rousey Nunes if Ronda Rousey get tricked into thinking her stand-up was good. So yeah, Kayla Harrison is a beast, and who else than Amanda Nunes to prove how legit you are, you know? Uh, Imagine it, Nunes versus Harrison, huge fight. Moving on to number 3. Now this one I know will not come back, but I don't know. I really want to see Khabib again in the UFC. People can say what they want. They can say, "Oh, he's just a crotch sniffer. He just wrestles." No. There was something else with Khabib. You guys are forgetting. Khabib was a force. The guy was when he gets people to the ground, he goes for the finish all the time. I don't even recall the last time Khabib won by decision. I can't even recall that, guy. This guy takes guys to the ground, mauls the fuck out of them, and finishes them. It was such a sight when you see Khabib like walking down these guys, taking them down, beating them up, and just submitting them or TKOing them. I never seen such an aggressive wrestler, such an efficient wrestler, and no one had the answer to him. And most of all, 13 and 0. That must account for something for him. Who wants to stop at 29? Like no one. Everybody has that OCD that, and I know it's bothering him. It would bother everyone if they had just 29 wins and stop there. But it is the least likely comeback of the whole video because we know the thing with his father, and Islam is now at lightweight. He's like his brother. He won't fight him. But I was thinking something like maybe welterweight comeback, maybe the 165 belt, which I'm pretty sure will they will do for McGregor Chandler. Imagine that comeback from Khabib. McGregor knocks out Chandler, takes the 165 belt, and they announce McGregor Khabib too. I mean, yeah, that's historical to say the least. Who knows? Maybe we see it a few ways down the line. I mean, former champions always have that itch to come back to prove themselves again. I mean, why else do we see many former champions come back? Like Weidman, like Cejudo. I mean, guys that have achieved it. They got the ultimate goal. They get the belt. They just randomly like decide to come back after clearly their peak is over. I think it's something that when you get that belt, when you get that number one in the world spot, you're drunk with it. You want it back again. And no, I'm sure Khabib wants it again. Now going on to number 3. I'm talking Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee will make a huge comeback. Now hear me out, guys. Kevin Lee has never lived up to his potential, right? We all know that. Um, Lastly, we saw him get submitted by that Russian-looking guy, Riziboyev, I think his name was, I'm pretty sure. That was a sad sight to watch. I really had hopes for Kevin Lee. I mean, he's just... I have nostalgia for these fighters, you know, someone like Kevin Lee. At one moment, he was so close to the top. He was fighting for the interim lightweight title. Um, he got submitted, like he was winning the fight and then got submitted with that triangle by Tony Ferguson. And speaking of Tony Ferguson, I think that's the perfect fight for Kevin Lee comeback. Now, this is exactly why I included Kevin Lee on my list because we need some opponent for Tony Ferguson that Tony Ferguson can actually beat. I mean, we all know Ferguson is not going to retire with like 7 losses in a row. He just won't. He needs that win, and if someone can choke it, it's Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee can be winning a fight and then get caught on something. It's the perfect style for Tony to get a win finally. I mean, that's an evil reason maybe to include Kevin Lee, but on the other hand, Tony is if you're ever gonna beat Tony, it's now. So if Kevin Lee comes back, beats Tony Ferguson, he will get that moral boost that he needs desperately. And it did start all going south for him with that Ferguson loss. So maybe he can rebuild his confidence on poor Tony's declining, dying legacy. I mean, a fight like that, whoever wins, it's a win for fans. Either we get a little bit of a, like retribution for Tony Ferguson, a small victory for him if he beats Lee again, or we get possibly a new contender in Kevin Lee because I do think what he lacks is confidence. He's a great fighter, Kevin Lee. He just never put it together. Now, moving on. Zabit Magomed. I don't know, I can't pronounce his name. Zabit, you all know what I'm talking about. Now, yeah, this guy is a weird phenomenon for me because what happened to this guy? He disappeared, and then we heard. I'm not even sure it was a direct interview by him. Someone relayed by him that he's happy now and he doesn't necessarily like fighting. And I mean, if you didn't like fighting, why make it to the UFC and then stop? You either stop before or you stop after you accomplish something. He just stopped on a win. That's very weird. I mean, Zabit is he was such a mystery when I was watching him. Very unique style, very acrobatic, Dagestani fighter. We never had that before. Yeah, this one writes itself. I want to see Zabit. I want to see him against any one of the top five featherweights. Imagine Zabit versus Volkanovski. Imagine Zabit versus Holloway. Imagine Zabit versus Topuria. Just imagine Zabit versus Topuria. That's fireworks. That's the wildest of wild fights you can make at featherweight. So yeah, Zabit is he's one of those guys we all want to see back, but it's such a mystery. I do have the general impression that all these retired fighters, I mean, most of them, unless they got like destroyed at the end of their careers, most of them want to come back. There is something about being on the biggest stage, about performing, about winning at the biggest stage. It's such a niche. And yeah, that was my list, guys. I hope you enjoyed the content. See you in the next video. Please like and subscribe if you like it.